Yo, what's up guys? This is Midnight Wabbit and welcome back to a new video, and this is something a little bit different. I want to show you guys, this is going to be my first of the 4 new character breakdown videos I do for the 4 new playable characters in Borderlands, the pre-sequel, which is coming out this October. Pretty excited for that. But I'm going to be doing a breakdown of each character, their action skill, like what makes them special and stuff, and all of each of their skill trees. So hopefully you guys will be interested in that. I don't know if you guys have seen some stuff, either gameplay or like read about much about the pre-sequel. If not, you may be a little confused about some of the stuff that I'm saying, and I do apologize for that. There are a bunch of new elements in the game, and it didn't occur to me while I was making this video. It did not occur to me it occurred to me after the fact, but it didn't occur to me while I was making this video that there are a lot of those other elements, and a lot of those certain different new skills and stuff are augmented by those skill trees, and you may need to understand some of that stuff. I mean, there's the new oxygen meter, which is like when you're outside, because it's on the surface of Pandora's moon. That's where it takes place. So it's like if you're outside, you have to worry about your oxygen. I don't think it should be too much of a problem because it's like health. I think it drops from enemies and stuff. But anyway, there's that. And there's a couple other new features where I'll explain when we get to it. And if you guys have questions, feel free to leave me comments down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. But let's get right into this. The first character we're going to be breaking down today is Athena, which is the Gladiator class. And I'm just going to read the action skill off to you, and then I will explain a little bit about it and stuff. So it says, press the action skill button to raise your Aspis and absorb all frontal damage. The Aspis can store a finite amount of absorbed damage as energy, and based on your level. It is thrown at the end of the active duration, or if you press the LB or whatever again. The Aspis creates an explosion upon impact, dealing base damage plus double the stored energy before returning to you. So it's basically like a very effective absorb shield, except it converts all of the damage that is absorbed into it. Instead of into ammo, it converts it into just pure explosive damage that it will then output when you throw it. And there's some pretty cool skills which are augmenting that, which are in I think it's the left skill tree, which I will show you guys in a little bit. But it's actually pretty cool. So it's got a 90-degree arc in front of her. It's just basically a shield directly in front of her, which absorbs all the damage, and then you can like throw it back at the enemies, which I thought was kind of interesting. Let's jump into some of the skill trees real quick. This is some basic stuff. When you gain Storm Weaving, increased fire and elemental effect chance when you swap weapons. This is actually a pretty important one. Maelstrom. Dealing fire or shock damage causes you to gain stacks of Maelstrom. All elemental damage is increased for each stack. This actually affects a lot of the skills farther down in this skill tree, so this is actually a pretty important one because most of those a lot of these skills are affected by affect the Maelstrom stacks that give you bonus abilities when you have those stacks and stuff. So that's actually a pretty important one for this skill tree. When you have at least one electrocute status effect active, you regenerate your shields. Increases magazine size and reload speed. I love stuff like that. I absolutely love being able to do that. Smite. This is actually a pretty cool one. When you're airborne, shooting an enemy will smite them, dealing fire and shock damage, and that's increased by the stacks of Maelstrom. Again, like I said, killing an enemy increases your weapon swap speed and fire rate. Got a lot of stuff like that. While Storm Weaving is active, your weapons have a chance to not consume ammo, kind of like that Gunzerker skill. This is a kind of cool one. Zeus's Rage. When you throw the Aspis, a devastating fire and lightning storm will spawn at the target location, doing damage over several seconds. And it's based on the amount of damage absorbed by your shield. And my voice cracked. That's great. Has a chance to shock nearby enemies when struck, and you get bonus Maelstrom stacks from that. Let's see what else we got. Whenever you kill an enemy who is electrocuted or burning, there is a chance for the status effect to chain to a nearby enemy, which gives you bonus Maelstrom stats. Kind of like that Chain Lightning Grenade mod from the Tiny Tina DLC in Borderlands 2. Now this one, Flash Freeze, I'll explain what it is when I'm done. Let me just read it real quick. Whenever you freeze an enemy, you gain Flash Freeze for a short duration. During this time, you cannot gain or lose Maelstrom stacks. And what the freeze means is there's a new elemental damage type in the pre-sequel. It's called Cryo, so it like freezes them, and you can like sometimes I think you can like shatter them or something like that if you have like an explosive weapon or something like that, which is pretty cool. It's adding a new elemental damage type, so I think that should add a bunch of new interesting stuff to the game. So that's pretty cool. Hades Shackles. This is like the keystone skill of this skill tree. Slamming links you to nearby enemies with a shock tether for a short duration, electrocuting them. If the tether is broken, if the line of sight is lost, any enemies who are still tethered at the end of the duration or who die while tethered release a massive fire nova blast, and you gain bonus Maelstrom stacks for that. And basically what they mean by slamming is this is another new ability that I probably should have talked to you guys about in advance. Like I said, if you guys have questions, please leave them down below. It's basically when you're in midair and you press the crouch button, you make like a ground slam, and you kind of make like a ground slam and kind of create an explosive radius around that. Let's move on. If you guys, like I said, if you guys have more questions, leave them down below. We're going to move on to the left skill tree, which is mainly about augmenting your shield. We got increased damage when it's thrown, increased movement speed and gun damage while holding the shield. It's not like you have to, you can still hold a gun at the same time while you have that shield. It's kind of like your gun's working, but in your left hand you have the shield, your right hand you have your gun or whatever. So while it's active, you and your friends gain health regeneration. The health regeneration rate increases as it stores energy in the device or whatever. I forgot the name of it for a second. It lengthens the duration before it throws. Now stores elemental damage types, which is kind of cool. And it stores all of the elemental damage types. So like if it takes all elemental damage types, it'll release them all at once whenever you throw it, which is pretty cool. When thrown, it grants a second wind to friends within range. It's kind of like the res skill from the Siren skill tree in Borderlands 2. I kind of feel like the Gladiator is basically like the closest thing they have to a Siren in the pre-sequel. I feel like this is the Siren of the pre-sequel, in my opinion, but you guys let me know what you think. Damage absorbed by it now provides power to your shields. You can charge your shields by having absorbed a damage from that. Allows it to absorb a percentage of damage from your friend's gun, so your friends can actually heal you if you have your action skill out. And then Prepare for Glory is activating it, taunts nearby enemies, making them more likely to attack you. Each individual enemy who inflicts damage on it and gain a stack of Prepare for Glory, which is increased gun damage. And this, I think this is another one of the Siren skills. When active, the Aspis has a chance to reflect incoming lasers and bullets while still absorbing their energy. And yes, there is a new weapon type called a laser, which I did not go over before because I'm an idiot and I didn't think of that. And this one will ricochet up to 4 additional enemies, which I thought was pretty cool. So basically, it's kind of like that chain lightning grenade. When you throw it, it'll bounce to the nearest enemy, and it can do that up to 4 times, which is pretty cool. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's reduced by a third each time it impacts an enemy, but I mean that's still better than the damage it would have done to all those enemies anyway. The middle skill tree is basically increasing pretty much your damage and stuff. Increases gun damage and melee damage is increased after shooting an enemy. Killing an enemy increases movement speed and damage resistance. It's kind of like there's a lot of skills like that in Borderlands 2. Rend is actually, this is a pretty important one for this skill tree, kind of like the Maelstrom was for the skill tree on the right. This is a pretty important one for this skill tree. Melee attacks cause enemies to bleed, inflicting damage over time. So the damage is increased against higher health targets, and damage also benefits from your melee damage bonuses. So like the enemy will just lose health over time because you made it bleed with your with your melee attacks. And this is another slam alteration skill. You create a singularity, kind of like those singularity grenades in Borderlands 2, pulling enemies in. Gain health regeneration whenever you make an enemy bleed. Increase gun damage to bleeding targets. So a lot of this has to do with the bleeding effect. Gain increased fire rate and reload speed for each bleeding target. When an enemy is killed by your melee attacks or dies from bleeding, they explode. Nearby enemies will take damage from the blast and also be kind of grossed out. And this is the bottom one. It says press the melee button to dash toward an enemy and strike them with Zephos with increased melee damage. The ability has a cooldown. The attack applies a bleed to a target that isn't bleeding or kills the target. The cooldown is immediately reset, which is pretty cool, I think, because you can basically, if you time it right, you can do that actually over and over again. But anyway, let's take a little bit of look at Athena. This is a little bit of gameplay of Athena, and yes, this is the new laser weapon type. I think this is a TDR one, so when you throw it when it runs out of ammo or whatever. I think lasers are probably going to, I'm not sure, but they're probably, yeah, it looks like it consumes 5 ammo. They're probably going to consume quite a bit of ammo in-game, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And there you see, there's the Aspis, the shield that activates, and the player here is trying not to shoot because he's trying to show what happens when the energy gets absorbed. So you see there the energy got absorbed by the shield, and then when you throw it, he has that ricochet skill enabled, so it bounces off the enemy and goes to the next one, and it can do that up to 4 times, which is actually pretty cool. I think that's actually pretty cool. There's another example of that. This is a cryo weapon, so this is one of the weapons that will freeze them, and you will see that in a second. Also a good example of here's the ground pound thing. There's a nice smack where it freezes them. I think that's one of her skills. I can't remember. Maybe the shield or something. I don't know. But anyway. You kind of throw it like a discus. It's kind of cool. I think the Gladiator is probably going to be my go-to character for the pre-sequel, to be honest. I really think that it's because the Siren was my go-to character in Borderlands 2. I think the Gladiator is going to be, like I said, the Siren of the pre-sequel. real quick, sorry, I don't know if I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but my voice is a little scratchy, and I kind of have a little bit of a sore throat, so but I'm still trying to power through this commentary because I really want to get this out for you guys today. And yeah, I put a lot of work into this video, like honestly 7 or 8 hours total into this video, so if you guys could leave a like, I would really hugely appreciate it. Like, you have no idea how much I would appreciate that, guys. I would really, really appreciate it. I've done like 20 takes of this just trying to get the commentary right. I put a lot of work in this, even though it may not seem like it for me. It took a lot of work for me to actually get it to where I was happy with, which is what you're watching right now, which is the version that I'm actually satisfied with. But anyway, like I said, leave a like and a comment if you did. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions. I'll be happy to I cannot talk. God, I'm illiterate. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the pre-sequel. There, I said it. Oh my God. Anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you're not already. Tell your friends. All that stuff. I will talk to you guys tomorrow with the next character breakdown, which is going to be Wilhelm, which, in case you guys are wondering, is Wilhelm the boss from Borderlands 2. It's before he became a robot. He's actually a human, and I'll explain more about how that works tomorrow. But anyway, I have to go learn how to use the English language now, so that way you guys don't have to rewatch the video like 11 times to understand what I just said. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.